Listen to me carefully. The biggest mistake you can make right now is scrolling past this message, thinking this is just another video. I need you to hear me. I'm not saying this to hype you up. I'm saying this because your life is at a turning point, and if you don't listen closely, you might miss what God is doing right in front of you. I'm going to be direct with you because I respect you too much to waste your time. Something is shifting in your life. You felt it. You can't explain it, but you know it's there. That restlessness in your spirit. That quiet discomfort. That sense that what used to satisfy you doesn't hit the same anymore. That's not random. That's not confusion. That is a signal. I need you to stay with me until the very end of this message. Not because I want views. Not because I want attention. But because this might be the confirmation you've been praying for, the clarity you've been asking God for in silence. I know you've watched a lot of videos. I know you've listened to many voices. But none of that matters if you don't hear this one clearly. You see, I've been where you are. I remember seasons in my life where everything looked normal on the outside, but inside, I felt like I was outgrowing my own life. I prayed the same prayers. I asked God, why do I feel uncomfortable when nothing is technically wrong? And I learned this the hard way. God rarely announces change with noise. He starts with a stirring. Right now, I want you to do something simple. Slow down. Stop multitasking. Don't let this play in the background. Lean in. Because what I'm about to share isn't motivational fluff. This is spiritual truth. And if you catch it, it can change how you see your entire season. Let me ask you something. Why do you think comfort can suddenly feel like a cage? Why do old habits stop fulfilling you? Why do familiar places start feeling tight, like clothes you've outgrown? That's not because you're ungrateful. It's because God is preparing to unlock something new. I'm telling you now, this is not by accident that you're here. God is intentional. Timing is intentional. And seasons are intentional. You didn't stumble onto this message. You were led here. And if you listen closely, if you stay open, if you don't rush past what God is trying to show you, you'll realize this. You are not losing anything. You are being repositioned. So stay with me. Watch this until the end. Listen not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Because God is about to unlock your new season, and the worst thing you could do is ignore the knock at the door. Let me speak directly to you right now. One of the most misunderstood signs in a believer's life is spiritual restlessness. You feel uneasy, but nothing looks wrong on the surface. You're functioning. You're surviving. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And yet, deep inside, something feels off. You can't shake it. You try to distract yourself, but it comes back. You try to pray it away, but it lingers. I need you to hear this clearly, that restlessness is not confusion, and it is not weakness. It is often the first whisper that God is preparing to move you. I've been there. I remember seasons where my life looked stable, but my spirit felt unsettled. I asked God, why can't I just be content? And slowly I learned something powerful. God doesn't always bring change with noise. Sometimes He brings it with discomfort. When your spirit starts rejecting what your flesh wants to cling to, that is not rebellion. That is discernment being activated. You see, before God changes your environment, He changes your appetite. What used to satisfy you suddenly feels empty. What used to excite you now feels routine. And you start realizing that your comfort zone no longer produces growth. That's not accidental. God will never allow you to remain comfortable in a place that limits who you're becoming. Comfort can be a blessing for a season, but if you stay too long, it becomes a cage. Throughout Scripture, God follows this same pattern again and again. He signals transition before transformation. Moses felt burdened for his people long before he ever confronted Pharaoh. David was restless tending sheep even before he knew he would be king. Joseph dreamed of elevation before he ever understood betrayal and delay. God always reveals the sense of change before the scene of change. That's why Isaiah 43:19 is so important. God says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Notice what God is asking. He's not asking if you can see it physically. He's asking if you can perceive it spiritually. The new thing often begins beneath the surface, before anything outward changes. And many people miss it because they keep waiting for proof instead of paying attention to prompting. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds you that there is a time and a season for everything under heaven. That means your life is not random. Your timing is not delayed by accident. Your current discomfort is not punishment. It is positioning. God orders seasons with intention. He closes one chapter not to harm you, but to make room for what cannot fit where you are now. If you're feeling stretched, if you're feeling out of place, if you're feeling like you no longer belong where you once felt secure, don't panic. You're not losing your way. You're being led forward. Growth always feels like loss before it feels like gain. Transition always feels uncertain before it feels purposeful. So let me ask you something you need to answer honestly. What if the very tension you're trying to escape is the evidence that God is unlocking something new? What if the discomfort you keep praying away is actually the invitation you've been asking for? This is how new seasons begin. Not with fireworks, but with stirring. Not with clarity, but with calling. And if you learn to discern it now, you won't resist what God is about to release in your life. If you can feel the shift, then something else must happen before the door opens. God never reveals a new season without first reshaping the heart that will carry it. And if you rush past this part, what He's preparing for you could overwhelm you. So pause, because what happens inside you right now determines what happens next. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. God does not unlock new seasons for unprepared hearts. You might be ready on the outside, but God always checks the inside first. You may want the blessing, the breakthrough, the elevation, the open door, but God is far more concerned with who you are becoming than what you are receiving. And if you miss this, you will misunderstand the delay. I've learned this personally. There were times when I thought God was holding back from me, when in reality, He was working deeply within me. I wanted movement, and God wanted maturity. I wanted speed, and God wanted strength. Preparation is not God saying no. Preparation is God saying, "Not yet, because I love you too much to release you early." You see, internal alignment matters more than external readiness. You can look ready to others and still be unready before God. God prepares the heart before He ever releases the promise. Why? Because unprepared hearts mishandle answered prayers. They turn blessings into burdens. They turn elevation into pride. They turn opportunity into destruction. That's why God begins by stripping distractions. He starts removing things you leaned on but never needed. He exposes habits that weaken your discipline. He confronts attitudes that would sabotage your future. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. It feels restrictive. It feels like God is taking things away. But in reality, He's clearing space. I remember seasons where God slowed me down when I wanted to rush forward. He forced me into silence when I wanted applause. He taught me obedience when I wanted control. And looking back, I understand now. He was refining me. Zechariah 13:9 says, God refines his people like silver and tests them like gold. Refinement always happens before elevation. Prayer becomes deeper in preparation seasons. Fasting becomes necessary, not religious. Obedience becomes non-negotiable. God trains your spirit to respond before your emotions react. He teaches you discipline when motivation fades. Because the truth is this, motivation will not sustain your next season, but discipline will. And here's the part you must not miss. God is not preparing the blessing. The blessing is already prepared. 1 Corinthians 2:9 tells us that what God has prepared is beyond what eyes have seen or ears have heard. The preparation is for you. God is aligning your mind with what your future requires. He is strengthening your character so you don't collapse under the weight of answered prayers. If you feel stretched right now, it's because you're being expanded. If you feel challenged, it's because God is raising your capacity. If you feel disciplined, it's because God is building endurance. Nothing about this season is wasted. Every delay has intention. Every correction has love behind it. So, don't rush preparation. Don't fight refinement. Don't resent discipline. The unlocking is coming, but only after you are ready to carry what God is about to place in your hands. Preparation changes you, but it also costs you. Because once God finishes refining you, He will ask you to release what you're still holding. And here's the question you must face honestly. Will you trust God enough to let go, even without knowing everything ahead? One of the hardest parts of entering a new season is letting go of the old one. Not because the old was bad, but because it was familiar. Comfort has a powerful grip. Even when God calls you forward, your emotions want to stay behind. And this is where many people get stuck. Not because God doesn't lead, but because fear refuses to release. I've felt this tension myself. Knowing God was calling me forward, yet feeling emotionally tied to what I was supposed to leave. Old routines, old identities, old versions of myself that once worked but no longer fit. And here's what I learned. You cannot fully step into a new season while clinging to an old one. Something must be released. God often closes doors you're still emotionally attached to. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. If He left them open, you would keep going back. New seasons require old doors to close. That includes past failures you keep replaying, disappointments you still carry, and delays you secretly resent. Philippians 3:13-14 makes it clear. Forget what is behind and press forward to what lies ahead. Forgetting doesn't mean denying. It means refusing to let your past define your future. God cannot build tomorrow on yesterday's regret. And here's the uncomfortable truth. God rarely gives you full clarity before asking you to move. Faith is required because vision is often partial. You won't always understand the full plan. Sometimes God simply says, "Trust me." That's what He did with Abraham in Genesis 12:1. He told him to leave without explaining everything. Obedience came before explanation. Letting go feels like loss before it feels like obedience. It feels like stepping into uncertainty. But every time God leads you forward, He goes ahead of you. You are not abandoning safety. You are following guidance. Release is painful because it forces you to confront who you used to be. But the version of you that survived the last season is not always the version needed for the next one. Growth requires grief. Transition requires trust. So, don't cling to what God is closing. Don't mourn what God is removing. Don't fear what God is leading you away from. What you leave behind cannot compare to what lies ahead. Letting go is powerful, but walking forward is harder. Because freedom doesn't come with full clarity, only direction. And this is where many people stop, hesitate, or turn back. What you do with God's timing will determine whether you move ahead or stay stuck. Let me tell you something you need to hear right now, even if it challenges you. God's timing will almost never match your urgency. And that does not mean God is slow. It means God is precise. You see, you measure time by discomfort, by desire, by pressure. But God measures time by readiness. And this is where many people grow frustrated, discouraged, or tempted to move ahead of God. I've been there. I've prayed for doors to open faster. I've asked God why things seemed delayed when I felt ready. And what I learned through experience is this: when God delays, He is not denying you. He is developing you. Waiting is not a punishment. Waiting is preparation in disguise. Patience is not weakness. Patience is faith stretched over time. Isaiah 40:31 says that those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. That means waiting does something to you. It fortifies you. It sharpens you. It strengthens parts of your character that shortcuts would destroy. When you rush, you may arrive sooner, but you arrive fragile. When God leads, you arrive prepared. I need you to understand this deeply. God's direction is often revealed one step at a time. He rarely gives the full picture up front. If He did, fear would stop you before faith could move you. So God gives you just enough light for the next step. And that step requires obedience, not understanding. This is where alignment matters. Obedience is the key that unlocks divine seasons. Not emotion. Not motivation. Not logic. Obedience. Proverbs 3:5-6 tells you to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That means you won't always agree with God's timing. You won't always like His pace. But alignment happens when you trust Him anyway. I've learned that impatience often disguises itself as ambition. You tell yourself you're just eager, just driven, just hungry. But sometimes that hunger tempts you to run ahead of God. And anything you build ahead of God, you have to sustain without God. That's a weight you were never meant to carry. God's timing protects you from future collapse. What feels slow now is preventing failure later. God is not just getting you to a destination. He is shaping who you will be when you arrive. And if you arrive too early, you may mishandle what you prayed for. Waiting seasons reveal what you truly trust. Do you trust God only when things move quickly, or do you trust Him when progress is invisible? Alignment is proven in stillness. Direction is refined in silence. Faith is matured when you walk without full clarity. Let me say this plainly. If God has you waiting, it's because something still needs to be formed in you or removed from you. Pride must soften. Discipline must strengthen. Vision must mature. God never wastes time. He redeems it. So don't panic because things feel slow. Don't assume you missed your moment. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where obedience has placed you. And when the time comes, God will move suddenly. What feels delayed will unfold quickly. Align your heart. Align your steps. Stay obedient in the quiet. Because when God unlocks your next season, it will be right on time, and you will be ready to walk in it with strength, clarity, and peace. Waiting refines you, but waiting is not the destination. There comes a moment when faith must stand up and move forward. God will not carry you into the new season. You must walk. And when you do, everything will try to test what you truly believe. Let me be honest with you. The moment God unlocks a new season, fear almost always tries to enter first. Not because the promise isn't real, but because growth demands courage. Faith is not just believing God can do it. Faith is moving when your emotions are unsure, when the ground feels unfamiliar, and when the outcome isn't guaranteed by sight. I've experienced this personally. There were moments when God opened doors I prayed for, and instead of excitement, I felt intimidation. I realized something powerful in those moments. Fear often shows up not when you're failing, but when you're advancing. New territory exposes new insecurities. New levels reveal new weaknesses. And that doesn't mean you're unqualified. It means you're growing. Courage is required because faith without action remains incomplete. You can believe God all day, but if you don't move, belief stays theoretical. Faith becomes real when you step forward while your hands are shaking. When you obey even though you feel unready. When you trust God more than you trust your comfort. Joshua 1:8 reminds us that success is tied to obedience. God didn't promise Joshua ease. He promised him victory through obedience. The land was already given, but it still had to be walked into. That's how God works. He promises, but you must possess. He speaks, but you must move. And let me warn you of something important. Resistance is normal when you enter a new season. Don't be surprised when opposition rises. Don't be shocked when doubt gets louder. Every new level is contested. Resistance is not a sign you're wrong. It's often proof that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Walking by faith means you won't always feel confident. 2 Corinthians 5:7 tells you that faith is not based on what you see. That means uncertainty is part of the process. Confidence grows after obedience, not before it. Strength follows action. There will be moments when you feel exposed, when God elevates you beyond what feels familiar. You may look around and think, do I belong here? Let me answer that for you. If God brought you there, you belong there. You are not an accident in this season. You are appointed. So, don't shrink back. Don't downplay what God is doing in you. Don't retreat into old habits just because they feel safe. Faith requires you to stand firm, even when your surroundings are unfamiliar. God didn't unlock this season to watch you hesitate. He unlocked it because you are ready to grow into it. Step forward. Trust deeper. Move boldly. God goes before you. Stepping in is one thing. Staying rooted is another. Because new seasons don't just require courage. They demand character. What God unlocks must be sustained, protected, and stewarded. And how you live after the breakthrough matters more than the breakthrough itself. Now listen closely, because this part matters more than most people realize. Entering a new season is powerful, but remaining fruitful in it is the true test. God does not elevate you just to impress you. He elevates you to increase your responsibility. New seasons come with new weight, new expectations, and new levels of stewardship. I've learned that success can be more dangerous than struggle if humility is lost. When God blesses you, when doors open, when growth becomes visible, pride quietly waits for an opportunity. That's why gratitude is essential. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned. Humility keeps you grounded. You never outgrow dependence on God. John 15:5 reminds you that fruit comes from remaining connected. You don't produce fruit by striving harder. You produce fruit by staying rooted. Prayer must remain consistent. Obedience must remain daily. Just because God has moved you forward does not mean you stop seeking Him. Every new season introduces new responsibilities. What worked before may not work now. Old disciplines may need to deepen. Spiritual growth must be guarded intentionally because regression is subtle. Drift doesn't happen suddenly. It happens quietly when vigilance fades. I've seen people step into answered prayers and slowly lose the hunger that got them there. That's why you must protect your spiritual habits. Guard your time with God. Guard your thought life. Guard your obedience. Fruitfulness requires maintenance. Philippians 1:6 assures you that God completes what He begins. That means your growth is ongoing. This season is not the finish line. It's another chapter. God is still shaping you, still refining you, still expanding your capacity. And here's the most important truth. Your fruit is not just for you. God blesses you so you can bless others. Your growth becomes a testimony. Your obedience becomes a light. Your season becomes a sign of God's faithfulness. So stay faithful. Stay humble. Stay connected. The same God who unlocked the season will sustain you in it. You've heard the message. You've felt the stirring. And now, I don't want you to just understand it. I want you to step into it. This is the moment where knowledge becomes encounter, where faith becomes a voice, where your heart meets God in real time. Don't rush this. Don't just listen. Pray this with me. Say it out loud if you can. Let this be the moment where God doesn't just speak to you, but moves within you. Father God, I come before you right now, and I quiet my heart in your presence. I choose to slow down, to breathe, and to become aware that you are here with me. I invite you into this moment, into my thoughts, into my spirit, into my future. I acknowledge that this is not just a prayer. It is an appointment with you. I open my heart fully, holding nothing back, expecting you to move. I am here, Lord. I am listening. I am ready. God, I declare right now that you are the author of my seasons. You control time, transition, and purpose, and nothing in my life is accidental. I declare that what feels delayed is not denied, and what feels unclear is still guided. I trust you even when I don't understand the timing. I say out loud, you are ordering my steps. I choose faith over fear, trust over impatience, obedience over control. Lord, I release what no longer belongs in this next season. I let go of old pain, old disappointment, old versions of myself. I release regret from past mistakes and fear of future unknowns. I refuse to carry what you never asked me to keep. I surrender comfort zones, emotional attachments, and limiting beliefs. I close every door you are closing, without resentment and without fear. God, I declare that I am becoming who this new season requires. I am disciplined where I used to be distracted. I am obedient where I used to hesitate. I am mature, grounded, and aligned with your will. I declare that my heart is ready for what you are unlocking. I receive strength, wisdom, and clarity for the season ahead. Father, I declare prophetically that a new season is opening in my life. I speak open doors, divine favor, and supernatural clarity over my future. I declare courage to walk forward and faith to keep moving. I receive fresh vision, renewed strength, and spiritual momentum. I declare that what you unlock, no one can shut. I step forward now, expecting your hand to guide me. Lord, I thank you in advance for what you are doing and what is coming. I choose peace while I wait and obedience while I walk. I trust you not just to unlock this season, but to sustain me in it. I commit to remain humble, faithful, and connected to you. I rest in the confidence that you will finish what you started in me. And I declare with faith, God is unlocking my new season. Amen. Before you move, before you scroll, before you let this moment pass, I need you to stay with me just a little longer. What God unlocks next is not only about you, it's about what flows through you. There is still something vital the Spirit wants to seal in this moment, and if you lean in, you'll recognize why you're still here right now. You see, when God unlocks a new season in your life, He also places oil in your hands for someone else's breakthrough. What you're receiving today is not meant to stop with you. It's meant to move through you like a river. I hear the Father saying that your obedience, even in giving, becomes seed in fertile ground. When you choose to support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not funding a channel. You are sowing light into dark places, manna into hungry souls, fire into hearts that are almost out. I feel led to tell you this clearly. As you give, I will multiply back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, says the Lord. Not as history, but as a living promise for you right now. Your giving becomes oil that keeps the lamp burning, a seed that grows beyond what your eyes can see. This is not a casual moment. It's a divine appointment. If your heart feels stirred, don't hesitate. Act now. Obey now. Give now. Now let me ask you to do something powerful. Use the hype feature on this video, not just to boost content, but to declare that this message matters. When you hype this video, you're saying, this word deserves to be heard. This season deserves to be unlocked. Liking is good, but hyping is prophetic agreement. Hype this video and help push this word into the lives of people who are standing right on the edge of their next season. Before you leave, I want you to engage one more time. In the comments, declare this out loud in faith. God is unlocking my new season. Write it boldly. Write it expectantly. And if you have a specific prayer request, something you need God to move on, heal, restore, or unlock, place it in the comments. We are praying with you and for you. This is not the end of the encounter. This is where agreement begins. If you're hungry for God's presence, protection, and direction every single day, let this channel walk with you. Subscribe to this channel. You are not here by accident. This season was unlocked on purpose. Stay connected, stay covered, and stay expectant. Amen.